So, as the title of the video says, I started reading Tower of God. Now, I know a lot of you will probably just click off this video immediately, so just stay for like 20 seconds. If you watched the Tower of God anime and liked it, I beg you, read the manhwa. It's fucking amazing. I'm like just about the end of the workshop battle arc. It's incredible. I highly suggest you check it out if you liked the anime, and can't wait for a season 2 to be potentially announced in the future. Seriously, check it out. It's incredible. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts on it, stick around till the end of the video. So, Tower of God. I watched this when it aired in 2020. Yeah, that was when it came out. Yes, 2020. Jesus, that feels like an eternity ago with everything that's going on in the world. And I absolutely loved it. Of the 3 manhwa anime adaptations that came out that year, it was definitely the best one, at least in my opinion. And I was hooked on it for a very long while, and I watched tons of YouTube videos on it, but I never actually read it. And obviously, I've recently just gotten around to doing it as such. But, a little background. Tower of God's anime was, for me, absolutely incredible. The story and the world building and the characters just amazed me. It was fantastic. I fell in love with it pretty much immediately. Like, every episode I watched, I loved it more and more. The first episode I thought was an interesting premise. And then we got to the second episode, and then we got to the Crown Game. And really, I think the Crown Game is what sold me on the entire series as a whole. Like, that mini arc was just brilliant. It introduces a handful of my favourite characters, my personal Tower of God waifu in Dorsey, who even now, after having read more of the manhwa, is still definitely my waifu. We'll get into that in a little bit. But yes, and then from there, obviously, I began to love the series even more and more. And obviously, at the end of season 1, with the big twist, obviously, if you've watched it or know, if you don't, spoilers, where Rachel betrays Balm, that was incredible. I mean, personally, I saw it coming, but I think that made it better. That there was this groundwork laid, there was something going on with Rachel that you shouldn't trust her, and then obviously, we know what happens from there. I think seeing it coming actually made it even more, at least in my opinion, made the twist hit harder. Had I not seen it coming, it would have been like just shock value. But seeing the build-up for it was fantastic, and understanding what the build-up was for. And obviously, then season 1 ends with Warion going to Balm, and then we get the small teaser at the end with Balm with the long hair, or Viol, if you pick up the manhwa, that's who you'll be following, because that's Balm. It's not exactly subtle. SIU doesn't do anything to hide the fact that Viol is Balm, but he also doesn't do anything to like explicitly tell us that Viol is Balm. It's just left in the dark up until it is explicitly revealed that Viol is Balm a little bit into season 2. Now, as for season 2 itself, from everything I've read, every chapter or episode, I believe that's what the list has on Webtoon, has been an absolute joy to read. Honestly, every single episode, every single chapter, every single, like, pretty much most panels as well have been just a joy to read. I was tempted to go back and reread season 1, however, I decided to just pick up from, start of season 2, where season 1 left off. I probably should have reread it, because it has been, 2 years since I watched Tower of God initially, but hey-oh, whatever. I just wanted to go straight in and enjoy it. And honestly, it's fantastic. The new characters are introduced. I initially didn't think I'd like when I found out that, obviously because of how season 1 ends, season 2 would be initially with a new cast of characters that hadn't been built up yet, with huge changes to Balm. I initially thought, oh, I probably won't like this, because I really love the original cast. They're part of the reason why I fell in love with the show. Like I said, I love the characters. But the new cast, well, not the new cast, obviously they haven't got rid of the old ones, but the new characters have really grown on me. I've really enjoyed them. Like, you have Hoyang, who has this this kind of dark, tragic backstory that you kind of is implied by his whole demeanor, and when he tells it to you, and you find out his reason for climbing the tower, and then obviously you're introduced to the Devil's Right Arm, Kasano, who is his friend or effectively brother, and how they've had the exact same upbringing, and the whole reason he's climbing the tower is effectively to find him and the person who they both looked up to the most. Well, at least from Hoyang's perspective. And then, I mean, Arc Raptor, we don't know a whole lot about. He's relatively mysterious, at least so far. We know he had a daughter and lost that daughter, and used Misang as, you know, kind of a replacement for that daughter. But he's really cool. Like, he's got a great design. We don't know I don't know too much about him yet, but I do like him. Then you have Misang and Gosang, who are both, while much more minor characters because they aren't exactly strong, they are pretty much just regular people. They're still really interesting to see, you know, more people like Shibisu, who don't really have any, you know, exceptional abilities, like, or exceptional wit or strength or, you know, ability to control Shinsu. They're just kind of regular people that have this goal and they're climbing the tower, even though they know they aren't exceptional. And their dynamic with the rest of the group is a whole lot of fun. And then we get into the more main players of our group. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention Prince because he's basically irrelevant. No offense, but he kind of is. He's there. Anyway, then we have two of the main players. We have the new, you know, the new girl, main girl of the group, Iwa Yon, who's from one of the 10 Great Families, who uses flames as her form of attack. And when we're introduced to her, she can't fully control her abilities. The only one that can effectively keep her under control is Viol, because he has the ability to manipulate Shinsu way better than pretty much everybody else can, and as such can stop her abilities from going out of control. And so far through Season 2, we've seen her develop and grow and learn to, you know, control her abilities the way an elite from one of the 10 Great Families should be able to. She also can't cook, which is generic anime trope, hee hee ha funny, but hey, look, tropes are everywhere, alright? She's pretty, I mean, in terms of her design, she's absolutely gorgeous. I know a lot of people like Iwa. So far, she's not done anything or had any moments that made me go, damn, she's a great character. I don't dislike her, don't get me wrong, but so far she's not done anything that's like made me fall in love with her as a character yet. I like her, but it's going to take time for her to like get up there in the ranks of characters I really enjoy. And then we have Wagner Jah, a prince of the Red Light District, who has a ring of jihad. He is a very interesting character because he is seemingly a very normal human being. He doesn't have any special capabilities, but he has a good sense of leadership and good morals, at least after a little bit of time. When we initially meet him, he's just out for himself, just to climb. But now he's changed, and he has helped change, well, not change Balm, but in some ways bring Balm back from what he was when he initially met him as Viol. And then obviously there's also the whole thing of having the ring of jihad and being a prince of the Red Light District. Personally, I don't know what that means. Warion's just said it. I know that the prince of the Red Light District are a thing and the rings of jihad are a thing. I don't know much about them yet, but I'm sure they're going to be bloody important. And then we have Viol. Due Viol Grace or 25th Balm. Good god, Balm's so fucking cool. Like, in the 5-year gap, time skip between Season 1 and Season 2, Balm has changed a lot. Obviously, visually he has the long hair, but initially his personality is different. At least on the surface it is. He's a lot more ruthless and cold-blooded. Colder. Not necessarily cold-blooded, but colder. He wants to climb. He'll, you know, basically sacrifice anything to climb, and we later find out why. And that is because if he doesn't, if he ever fails a test, his old friends will be killed. And obviously, we know Balm. He would never want that. He won't let things like that happen. And so he'll do whatever it takes to save the people he cares about and keep them safe. And so he climbs in the name of an organization called FUG, who so far have been the primary antagonists of, you know, Season 2, so far through and up until the end of the workshop battle. And I'm presuming they will probably remain as such, given their, you know, need of someone like Balm, you know, as a slayer, well, specifically an irregular, so that they can fulfill their goal of killing Jihad. Now, I don't want to go too much into story stuff. I know I've touched on things here and there. Obviously, I don't want to spoil too much for people that haven't read it, given this is supposed to be me telling you to go read it. Seriously, just go read it. Just do it. And then, obviously, the old cast, you know, the original group that we were with in the first 20 floors, they're back. Obviously, of course they are. And, oh my god, seeing them again was just a joy. You don't go a huge amount of time before you see them again, but it was still an incredible, it was just fun seeing them again. They've not changed too much, but seeing Kun and how he views Rachel was just perfect. How he's just so suspicious of her, and how he's basically figured out that she betrayed and killed Balm, you know, earlier on. And then when he finds out there's a chance that Balm might be alive, it's just brilliant. And how he's building this team to climb the tower with Rachel, but to potentially eventually betray her and, as he puts it, ignore her screams, is incredible. It really shows that Kun has become a lot more harsh and brutal after what happened with Balm, but he's still this calculating, conniving son of a bitch that we all fucking love. Honestly, Kun's really cool. He's pretty much unchanged from how he used to be. He's still the smartest guy in the room 90% of the time, and that's why we love him. And that's great that he is very much still Kun Aguero-Agnes. We're also introduced to another member of the Kun family, in Kun Ran, who we don't really know much about. It's just that he's basically a prodigy in almost every form, particularly combat. And there's a few other characters we're introduced to. Novrik is one of note. He's cool. Again, we don't know much about him, other than he's kind of strong. He has a rivalry with Ran. There's a character we're introduced to called Dan, who suffers at the hands of Rachel. If you read it, you'll understand why. I don't want to spoil too much here and there. Like I said, I want you to go read it and then experience all this for yourself. And then we get to the other members, like, as I mentioned, Shibisu, Laro, and all of them, and my personal favourite, Indorsi. And like I said, after having read more of this, Indorsi is still my Tower God waifu, because she's just the best. I don't know, I just like her. Maybe that says something about me. But yeah, I just like Indorsi. But I'll tell you one thing. There's one character that isn't my waifu, but I think she is my favourite character, at least right now, within Tower of God. And that is Warion. She is beyond interesting. She's conniving and sly and scheming, but not quite in the same way as Kun. She's just... There's something... Whenever things are happening, it's almost that she's involved with. When things seem like they're going wrong, it's almost as if something feels off. And normally the reason things feel off is because of Warion. I don't quite know how to put into words how I feel about Warion and why I like her. But it feels like she has this like broader grasp of things than she's letting on. And it's really interesting, because she just pops up. If you forget about Warion, she shows up out of nowhere and catches you off guard and has been there the whole time and has been involved in everything that's been going on. But if you're aware of her being there, you're waiting for her to show up because you know she will, and then when she does, you're like, yep, there it is, there's Warion. And it's something very, very special. And I do very much enjoy everything Warion does. And her kind of obsession with Balm, you know, him being, as she puts it, her god, and Balm not really, you know, having any of that, is an interesting dynamic. But yes, I think right now, at the very least, Warion is my favourite character. Not necessarily my waifu, because again, there's something about her that just feels very, very off. But she's definitely right now the character I'm most interested in, and interested in finding out more about and seeing more of. She's just all around fun. Well, fun might not be the right word, but I'm just going to say fun for now. And then, moving on from the characters, the story is, I've mentioned here and there, really good. Like, I'm really enjoying it. The twists and the cliffhangers between episodes are fantastic. They're really well done. The villains we're introduced to. Then there's some that are just, you know, evil, but not all of them are just, you know, a villain to be beaten to continue the story, like a mini boss or a final boss. They're all characters. They're all living, breathing people that have, you know, suffered in one way or another. And even some of them haven't. Some of them are just out for themselves, just to climb the tower or get rich. But all of them have a motivation for doing what they're doing. They're not all just pure evil. And it's really, really believable in a sense, and gets you engaged in, you know, these villains. You can kind of sympathise with at least a good handful of them. At least the ones I've been introduced to so far. And I'm definitely looking forward to reading more of Season 2, and I'll almost certainly do a video of my comprehensive thoughts of the whole of Season 2 when I finish reading it. I don't know how much is left, I haven't looked into how many episodes or chapters it is, but for those of you that do, right now, as I've said, I'm about at the end of the workshop arc, workshop battle, so you can probably gauge how long it'll be between this video and the video of me talking about the whole of Season 2, albeit this is being recorded like probably about 4 days before you're seeing it, so bear that in mind. But yeah, if you like this video and want to see more Tower of God content, leave a like, comment, sub, because I'll almost certainly be doing this for Season 3 as well. You know, like I said, leave a like, comment, sub, hit the notification bell, just so you can stay up to date with all the videos I'm putting out 3 times a week. And with all that said, I've been Animosity, you've been you, and I'll see you all next time for another video. Ta-ta, for now.